On this episode of Sign Dawgs, we're doing a sign for bright bulbs in Cedar Hill, Texas. Very close to our production facility, actually. Bright Bulbs does electrical supply, electrical service, and contracting for residential and commercial. So, this is right in our little wheelhouse since we do a lot of electrical signs and work with a lot of lighting.
Every day we look at signs. Some are beautiful, others not so much. For a business, any business, a good sign is crucial. So where does a good sign come from? Who creates these tantalizing works of art? In the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, it's done right here by the people at Signs Manufacturing, the people we call the Sign Dawgs.
Bright Bulbs has a blue color in their logo, and there's a good contrast. It's a really great looking contrast between blue and white. It's just a nice color combo, and it works great for signs because white is so bright, the blue is such a vibrant color. It's just a really good combination, a great pairing. So they're going to do a blue building. We're going to do the white chandeliers across the front with our 10,000 Kelvin Solar Bright LEDs to really make them pop. And then by the highway, they've got a major highway right there. They've got a lot of traffic that drives by, and they have this beautiful billboard. So we're going to reface those billboards with their new blue impact, high impact logo to really help them.
Hey, my name's Cole Young. I work for Signs Manufacturing. I've been here for over a year. Bright Bulbs Electric provides general and electrical contracting services to residential and commercial customers.
Here at Signs Manufacturing, we often, as you might imagine, since we do electric signs, have to deal with electricians. And Bright Bulbs Electric Company, those guys are solid. Not every electrician out there is. I can speak from personal experience that, quite frankly, some electricians are scary dumb. But not these guys. They do good work. And quite frankly, I appreciate that. And if you're looking for an electrician, you might want to give them a call, and you'll probably appreciate it too.
Cedar Hill is positioned right off Highway 67, which has a lot of street traffic. So a sign by the highway is a great idea and a great investment. They have a sign, they just need some faces on it to have their name, something that people are going to see. So we're going to incorporate that same blue lettering in their billboard sign by the highway and really help them get some visibility.
When Bright Bulbs Electric contacted Signs Manufacturing, they were looking for your kind of generic channel letters. Front lit, on the wall, nothing really too standoutish. When we met, the customer told me that they were looking for flex face on their existing billboard, so that way they could keep it externally illuminated. We offered to put cabinets up to make it internally illuminated a little bit brighter. They wanted to maybe think about that later on. So we ended up putting up a flex face on their existing billboard to keep the externally floodlight lighting the sign.
We did multiple signs for Bright Bulbs, and the one that I dealt with the most was the pole sign that's out by the freeway. In this particular case, when they got the building, it came with a billboard. But the billboard, frankly, wasn't in very good shape. And what it has is basically a pole going up and then just a frame sticking up in the air, a hollow frame. And the guys at Bright Bulbs, they're very concerned about keeping their costs low. And they're concerned about that so that they can keep the customers' costs low, which makes sense. We all appreciate that, right? So they didn't want to rebuild the billboard. Instead, what they wanted us to do was put new faces on the existing frame and just have them be out in space that way. Well, the problem is, you know those sailing ships that, get the wind and move? Well, basically by putting the sign face on this existing frame, that's what we built, was a sailing ship. But of course the ship can't move, which means all the force is on those sails. And that creates a bit of an issue because we don't want a high wind to come through and whoosh, there go the sails. And that's why I had to get involved in it a bit, just to try to engineer a solution to this. So what we ended up doing was putting the faces on the frame, and we actually created an elastic attachment mechanism so that there can be some play on this thing as the wind gets high. It's not gonna stop it if a hurricane comes through, but you know, we're in Dallas, Texas, and we're not very near the coast, so I'm not too terribly worried about hurricanes.
A problem that every sign company has with this type of a pole sign installation is that big piece of material is a huge sail, and a little 10-mile-an-hour wind really grabs that thing and pulls it. So when you're attaching it to the sign, you've got to be careful about not using things like screws through the material, which will end up just tearing over time. You want to clamp the material and hold it to stretch it in place. That's how you keep the sign from being damaged 10, 15 years down the road. When you're working with a flexible sign face material, there's a lot of different types. There's the kind that you see all the time where they cut out little openings for the wind to go through. There's little mesh that the wind goes through. There's heavier, different thicknesses and heavier materials that they use. All of them have a purpose and a place. Signs manufacturing understands what each of them are used for. And so with your particular need, we're going to use the one that fits your particular sign the best.
While it was in our shop, we ended up doing some solar guard, which clear coats the entire sign. It seals in the vinyl and the color so that in Texas it won't fade over time. Or turn black or yellow like you see a lot of that face, especially the south and the west, like this one is.
Crazy story about an electrician. All right, so one time, many years ago, we were working on a sign, and this was an electronic message center sign. Everything's gonna change. And this was early on relatively in the development of electronic signs, and so things weren't quite as polished as they are today. Well, this particular electronic sign, in order to get its data from the controller, had a fiber optic cable that was run out. So it's little glass fibers that are in a sheath, and they run from the computer all the way out to the sign. So I'm out there with an electrician, and the electrician's running the power to the sign. And he gets up on the sign, and he's fishing around trying to find his wires, and he grabs that fiber optic cable, snap, cut it right off, and then proceeded to try to put a wire nut on it to fix it. Well, to be fair, like I said, early days, fiber was not very common back then, but on the other hand, he's a professional electrician, you know? Yeah, get a good one.
What really makes this job unique is they ended up using the flex face material on the existing billboard, which gives them so much more advertising than their channel letters on their storefront. The channel letters on the storefront still do their job to guide and locate, and they're super bright. I mean, they're white, they're huge, they do their job. The flex face is what stands out with this job. And not only that, it's bright white, so it matches the building, so it's a really good design.
Cedar Hill is not getting smaller. Dallas is getting bigger, and as it expands out, Cedar Hill is growing and bigger and getting lots and lots of more people and a lot more businesses. Bright Bulbs, with their new signs, is well suited now to take advantage of that market.
One good thing that the customer provided was it was an electrical contractor, so that helped benefit the complete job. Everything from the channel letter hookup all the way to the floodlights on the billboard. That really did take a lot of weight off of our backs, so I would like to thank them for that.